Hey everyone, I'm Charting Man Dan, trader and technical analysis mentor with the Chart Guys. In this video, we're going to check in on the broader market as the bounce is finally underway. But there's a few major names that have yet to confirm hourly uptrends, and that has to happen tomorrow if we're going to follow through. We'll check in on the dollar and the 10-year to see if we're topping out, as gold struggles to find a bottom, extremely oversold in the short term. So we have the daily bounce underway. SPY and QQQ confirm the hourly uptrend. We had the bounce at the end of the day yesterday. The low of today is the higher low. And then as soon as you break the high of yesterday, the hourly uptrend confirms. We also set a new hourly higher low into the end of the day. The hourly uptrend is our guide for when the daily lower high is set. We know the most likely result of this bounce is a daily lower high. And what we're watching for is it a bear flag? Or can the bounce get followed through enough to create the space for a daily trend change to try and shape up? So tomorrow's a pretty important day, and the NASDAQ is doing the same thing. Hourly support from the end of yesterday, but the one thing that's missing right now are the three most important names in the market because of their weight in these ETFs: Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon. They don't have hourly uptrends confirmed yet. Anytime you hit a new low, you're starting from scratch on the hourly trend. And so Apple and Amazon broke the low. They all broke the low of yesterday. Microsoft not by much, but we don't have hourly uptrends, so this is a must. Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft must confirm the hourly uptrend like SPY and QQQ already did today. And so that's the top thing to be watching tomorrow, because if these names do not confirm the hourly uptrends, these broader market daily bounces aren't going anywhere. If they do confirm the hourly uptrends, it's going to help push SPY and QQQ into a bit more further bounce follow through. So that's going to be a top watch for me tomorrow for these major names, whether or not they break the high of today. The dollar is topped out for now, in the sense that daily consolidation is underway, but it's still a strong uptrend. We've been holding daily EMA 12 and setting higher lows this whole time, and anything above 104.66 is another daily higher low. So I'm now watching. We got real close to first hourly oversold conditions here and didn't quite get there. So we're in an hourly downtrend. And the next thing for me to affirm that the bears are regaining, again, it's just the zoom out game, one trend at a time. So we confirmed a 5-minute downtrend, then a 15-minute downtrend, then an hourly downtrend. And next, I need to see a 4-hour downtrend confirm as the result of the next time we bounce, if we're then going to zoom out and look towards daily EMA 12 support and the possibility of whether or not we're losing a daily uptrend. And just like last time, we lost the daily uptrend, but didn't confirm the downtrend. So what has to happen here is multiple days of pullback, fail the high, confirm the downtrend. So that's something to be watching for. But the time frame that I care most about now on the dollar is the 4-hour. And the dollar weakness definitely was a part of the broader market bouncing today. The metals are still weak. Silver holding on a little bit better. You look at silver today, and pretty much an inside bar. And silver is still battling to hold the weekly support, which is a base down here, and it is still holding. But gold has fallen apart in the short term. The last 3 days, just free fall. And another leg down today. This 4-hour RSI, the 12-hour RSI, I mean, you go back, and at one point today at the lows, we were down maybe 17 or so for that 12-hour RSI. And if you go back historically, and you look at the last, 5+ years, this is some of the most oversold that we get in the dollar. No, in gold. And so that's something to keep an eye on. We know we're just going to look for a daily lower high to be the result of the next bounce, but a very big shift with gold selling off much harder and hitting daily oversold conditions, and a lot of space for a daily lower high. Tesla bounce getting going on the daily. So bear flag with no follow through, but anything under 249.55 is a daily lower high. If we break that resistance level, that's going to increase probabilities a decent bit that a weekly higher low is shaping up. So I got stopped out break even on my swing trade yesterday, and I have not re-entered a position, and I don't know if I will at this point. We'll have to see how it shapes up from here, but still keeping an eye out for the possibility of a weekly higher low. And again, same thing as everybody else. The hourly uptrend is our guide, and it's all about 249.55 resistance in the short term. NVDA, keeping its daily bounce going. It was positioned better than most names for when the broader market bounced. Now it's getting a bit of follow through. What I want to see in an ideal world is a confirmed daily uptrend on NVDA so that I can then scout a weekly lower high for a head and shoulders. Because if this is going to be a longer term top, we need to confirm the weekly downtrend, and we know that base of support at 400 is a very key level. So the bulls have full control of the hourly uptrend here as well. And again, this is the kind of trade where it may take a while to develop, but I do know that I'm keeping an eye on NVDA for a weekly lower high sometime in the next couple of weeks. But for now, the bulls have short-term control of this bounce and more space to work with. If you look at, we're 5% off of the low, and obviously most names are not close to being 5% off of their low because most of the names hit their low yesterday, and Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon hit their lows today. So SMH holding on a bit better as well. Again, you can see that significant bounce follow through, getting to the high of the week very quickly. And again, most names not getting to the high of the week. We're not going to forget a monthly high or low is the most likely scenario here, but it's going to take a while for that to try and shape up. What the bulls are going to be hoping for from here is that the weekly downtrends that have now confirmed on Microsoft, SPY, QQQ, SMH, all these names, if the bulls can regain a daily uptrend from here into next week, we will call it bear breaks with zero follow through, which will keep bull flags a possibility. Now, whether that's a high probability or not, that depends on the individual that you're going to ask. But again, just looking at both sides here, bull and bear, I'm just laying out a path forward where if we bounce for another day or two and then we confirm a daily uptrend next week, it's a lot of ifs. It's a checklist that has to happen. But if it were to happen, then it would be a possible bull flag. So again, just going to keep that at the back of my mind as we watch the daily chart play out for the next couple of weeks. Cannabis sector. So MSOS bears tried to confirm the daily downtrend after the vote in the Senate from yesterday, but the bulls defended support by 5 pennies, and now it's just a question about the hourly trend. Can the bulls confirm the hourly uptrend for successful defense? There's a lot of resistance in the 830s. It's not surprising we topped out there today. I was talking on Twitter about how we had the resistance zone yesterday in the 830s, and the bears are going to defend it, and we topped out just under that level. And so now if we confirm the hourly uptrend, it'll be a daily higher low set, and we'll then be looking back up at 880, and it's a potential weekly bull flag if that happens. And if we break 762, that's a significant win for the bears. CGC is testing daily support as well. It came a little bit closer to breaking today. Bulls are just barely hanging on. ACB is now a lead bear. Again, I kept talking about how these names are for trading because somebody's going to not put a stop loss in and they're going to wake up. And I said down 30%, but here we are now down almost 50% from the high on ACB. And these names are dilution machines, death spiral. Put out an entire video about dilution where I was talking about ACB as an example and went back historically all the times we pumped hard and then just give it back, these quick short squeezes, and it's just happening again. And so if you're stuck in these names, it's a learning lesson because I had to get stuck a decade ago to not get stuck now. TLRY did drop to a lower low as well. No follow through, but it's a clear daily downtrend at this point. So barely hanging on. Just a side note, I've been talking about the CMPS psychedelic name, the weekly equilibrium that's been tightening up for a year, and that broke bear. So that means, no longer interested. We'll keep an eye on the long-term downtrend, but bears win this round, and we're looking down at recent lows. So I was hoping for a bull break there that would have me interested, but not happening. So paying attention for a while. But key support test on MSOS. And again, keeping an eye on it because if it does hold, it is a weekly bull flag. Uranium name. So hourly oversold from yesterday did result in higher highs, which is a good sign for bulls, but we are getting a little bit rising wedgy. If we have a red day tomorrow, the rising wedge will gain probability for me because it's a pullback, bull break, straight into consolidation, bull break. Do we go straight into consolidation again? If the answer is yes, we're definitely watching for a rising wedge to be shaping up. And if the rising wedge were to break bear, we would zoom out to the weekly and look for weekly consolidation to be underway. And URA, the ETF, holding on a little bit better, but similar. If we're red tomorrow in uranium, rising wedges will be on watch next week. The financial sector, getting the bounce going as well. Same thing, hourly uptrend is our guide. Anything under 34.96 is a daily lower high. We are watching our bounce retracement size to gauge probabilities here. And if we're under 382, which oftentimes aligns with the daily EMA 12, which is going to drop down to about here tomorrow. If we're under that, it's a potential bear flag. So the burden's on bulls to bounce for multiple days here if they're going to prove to us that these are not bear flags. IWM, same deal. Daily bounce, a couple days underway, but overall a lot of proving to do if anything's going to shift. Still in my KRE short, and I will exit that if 42 breaks. It does look like bears are starting to slow a little bit, so wouldn't be surprised if I stop out there. And then we'll take a step back and reassess the situation, but it'll be a nice 5% win, a little bit under that. It'll be a nice 4.5% win, worst case. Utilities getting absolutely crushed. So I don't really follow the utilities much. I check in on them. I do a market check-in every weekend for ChartGuys members, and I look at bigger picture things. I look at things that I don't look at in these videos, like copper and utilities. And so, I keep an eye on it. And the utilities was one of the long-term tightening patterns that we were keeping an eye on. This is the 2-week time frame, and it broke bear. And it's a good example of breaking bear and then getting a little bit of follow-through, but also having to sit through that bounce before the follow-through gets going. And XLU is now testing the lowest level of 58.47 that we've seen in the bear market. And if 58.47 breaks, we're then at the lowest level in over 2 years. And, you look at the long-term time frame here, the monthly chart, monthly EMA 12 is crossing the 26 bearish here. When's the last time that's happened? 2008. So it hasn't happened in a very long time. This is a longer-term shift. You can see the monthly equilibrium was nice and clear here. Monthly equilibrium broke bear, and we are following through. And a name that I watch in the sector is NEE. My dad used to work at this company, and it is just collapsing today. And the last 3 days, I should say. Just absolutely smashed. Historical, you look back decades, and this is some of the most beat up it's been. The weekly RSI is just absolutely crushed. So first thing I want to know is what's going on here. And so I see, all right, utilities are rate sensitive. And the way that I learn information is Google. Okay, why are utilities sensitive to rates? And I have my answer in 2 minutes. Competition with bonds. So oftentimes people go to utilities for dividends. But if dividends are 4 to 5%, and I got T-bills giving me 4 to 5% risk-free, then, or very low risk, as the government shutdown is now in the headlines, but then, it's competition. So why am I going to go for the dividend when I can go for the T-bill? And we've also got interest rate and debt levels. So utilities apparently carry a bunch of debt. And so if interest rates go up, that is higher costs, higher borrowing costs. So now I know a little bit more about why utilities are impacted by rates. But I'd love to see NEE gap down tomorrow to play a bounce. And then my strategy would be, buy it in my IRA for an hourly oversold bounce, sell partial into the bounce, put my stop at break even, and maybe the daily bounce, follows through for a few days, and it's a long-term fear bottom. Who knows? But I love positioning myself low risk or slim to no risk. Same thing with Tesla. So the first time I was right, 22% win for the monthly higher low on Tesla. This time I was wrong, but I lost $0 when I stopped out. Maybe I'll miss opportunity if that was the weekly higher low, but I love positioning for slim to no risk and only reward. And so if NEE were to gap down tomorrow, I would definitely be watching. I'm going to be watching for that entry and looking for the volume climax. I mean, the volume today, 30 million. I mean, that's more than we put up on earnings days. Yeah, that's the highest daily volume in a long time. So anyways, watching for a capitulation, short-term bottom in utilities and NEE, potentially tomorrow. Oil, pulling back a bit. So we're watching the daily uptrend and EMA 12 as our guide. Definitely a bit more of a pullback than the bulls want to see. And it was a 4-hour big move up and now a big pullback. We'll see if we get an equilibrium tightening up. But overall, again, I always watch, one of the things, as an early trader, there are things that
you don't get until you're advanced. Number one, stopping out and then flipping right to the other direction. I didn't get that until year like 8 of my trading to be able to do that well. And it's another thing to recognize bull breaks or flags confirming with zero follow through as signs of a reversal longer term. And that's why I'm watching, uranium and oil to see if these most recent new highs straight into a pullback are showing us that bulls are tiring and a temporary top is coming. It's too early to say, but whenever you see that bull break straight into a red day, have that in your mind. Have that like, okay, this might be a longer term top being set. And then, you get the clues that play out from there. And oil, the next big clue, would be confirming a 4-hour downtrend. Natural gas is knocking on the door of resistance here of this tightening weekly range. Keep a close eye if you are a natural gas trader, because 260 or 277s are in play. And we have a 4-hour uptrend guide. Anything above 2648 will be a 4-hour higher low. The natural gas futures had a contract rollover, and so it's screwing up the chart for me, which is why Nat Gas USD I think is more clear, or even just UNG is still clear, although that's more of a downtrend than a tightening range. But again, just spot price over the futures for a little bit of clarity, because I really dislike when those contracts roll over and you get those big gaps that throw things off a bit. So overall, broader market bulls need to see Amazon, Microsoft, Apple confirm hourly uptrends for daily bounce follow through. We're going to gauge whether these are daily bear flags or not. We'll get a lot of information tomorrow to help us answer that question. We're watching the dollar daily consolidation and the 10-year. Is it healthy for another higher low, or is a longer term top being set? We don't have any information that's saying a longer term top is being set. The bears would have to continue showing us stuff for the next couple of days. And going to be watching utilities and NEE for a temporary climax bottom to try and get an oversold bounce going tomorrow. Also watching gold to try and get an oversold bounce going tomorrow, but there's much less volatility there. Two good things. Thanks for tuning in.
Some of the last pollinators of the season. This is goldenrod. And then these flowers, whatever they are. Pokeberry, the cardinals like to eat those. And in the garden here, just letting everything overgrow, still taking some onions and greens and things. Planted some spinach. And this is all kale and collards. That'll be my fall crop, and I've got the winter in the greenhouse going. One of the tasks this winter is going to be getting a bunch of these old boards again, because now that we're on year 4 or 5, the smaller ones are rotting through. So in the winter, I'll replace those with new hardwood boards. Some more greens. These are a bunch of leeks that have been taking their sweet time, but they don't really get going until the cold weather. And that's about that. Should start getting chilly here over the next month. Plant garlic in 3 weeks or so. Then we'll be ready for winter.